Hey guys, it is Kaylee, and this is the book review blog that I promised you guys. So what we're going to do every week is every Tuesday I'm going to pick a book and we're going to review it. I'm going to give you the summary, my favorite character, my favorite scene, and how I'm going to rate the book. Just based on how I liked it. Then I will let you know if there's a sequel coming out, when the release date for that sequel is, and if the book, or if the author has any other books available. So I guess we're going to start, and I'm going to give you just a couple of book facts about me. I could not read. Well, I mean, I could read in kindergarten, but not very well. I couldn't read up until the first grade, and I remember my teacher, Miss Abercrombie, had to literally pull me aside in class and sit me down and was like, "You're gonna read this book, and you're not gonna do anything else until you read this book." And it was Junie B. Jones and the Big Fat Smelly Bus. I can't remember the exact title, but that was the first book I ever read, and so I thought that was really cool. If you can hear my dog, I apologize. And so she created a monster. So thank you, Miss Abercrombie. You have created a book monster. I have not been able to stop reading since that book. So I guess I read another book fact is I read up to I read 3 to 7 books at a time. So I mean, I can read, just an example, Twilight, Hush Hush, which is the book that we're going to review today, and I'm trying to think of another one, City of Bones, and I can read them all at one time. And I mean, I can read 3 chapters of Twilight, put it down, read 3 chapters of Hush Hush, put it down, and read 3 chapters of City of Bones and put it down, and keep them all separate. And so it's how I read a bunch of books at one time. I'm just magical like that. Anyway, so to start us off this week, we're going to review 2 different books. Oh, I have this book backwards. The first book we're going to review is this book. It's called The Lockharts. It's by Charlotte Monroe, and this one was actually written by one of my friends, who is just an amazing author, and I'm not just saying this because she's my friend. I legitly mean this is one of my favorite books. I have read it and reread it and reread it and reread it. Anyway, so to review this book, it's about this girl named Zara, and she lives in England, and her parents send her to this boarding school in Chicago. And while she is here, she meets these 4 guys, and these guys are the freaks. Something's wrong with these guys. Everybody avoids them, and their names are Tarquin, Cayenne, Cillian, and Aries. And they're really weird. They all have black hair and these amethyst eyes, and they keep to themselves, and they're just weird. But so throughout the story, she ends up falling for Cayenne, and then there's this huge travesty, and she's got to fight for her life against the Lockharts, which is Tarquin, Cayenne, Cillian, and Aries. That's their last name. And it's a beautiful story. I'm not gonna tell you all the details because I want you to read the book if you can find it, and if it's no longer, because she said something a couple weeks ago about this book may no longer be available because Athena Press, the people that put it out, are no longer in business. But I hope that you can find this book somewhere, because it was a book on demand, and so when I ordered it, they had to print it and send it to me. But it's totally worth it. It's a beautiful book. My favorite character was Tarquin, and he's kind of the evilest of all 4 brothers. And I tend to like the secondary characters more than I like the main characters, and I don't know why that is. I just do. But he's got this bad boy attitude, and he's all oh, I'm so much cooler than everybody else. And normally that's kind of but it's just the way that she wrote his character, it's really cool. And he tries to get in between Cayenne and Zara, and he's got this dark sense of humor. It's really cool. I like Tarquin the best. My favorite scene was there's a part where Zara gets into an accident and she loses her memory, like total amnesia. And one of the guys that has a crush on her, Jason, at her school, like he like starts lying to her, and he's like, "No, you're my girlfriend. You don't hang out with Kyan and his brothers. Like you hate them. You're cool like us." And she's like, "Oh, okay," because she's got amnesia. Like she doesn't know. She's just like putting herself out there. And then she like wakes up from her amnesia, and she's like, "You've been lying to me this whole time. You a hoe." And it's pretty fun. That's my favorite scene is where she wakes up from her amnesia, and she realizes that Jason's been lying to her this whole time, and she's made just this huge butthole of herself to Kyan. And so that is The Lockharts by Charlotte Monroe. I give it a 10 out of 10 rating just because this is like literally in my top 5 favorite books. And that's not just because she's my friend. Like I really enjoyed this book. Like, oh my gosh, sorry, my hair. If you can find it, get it, read it, totally worth it. At one point, Charlotte said something about putting out a Lockharts 2 book, but I don't know anymore about that. And I know that she's working on another book. I'm so excited, but I don't know when that is, but I will keep you updated. Next book we're going to review is Hush Hush by Becca Fitzpatrick. And just so you know, all of my hardcover books, I take like the paper covering that comes with it, I take them all off. And I keep them hidden, but I don't know why. I just do. But Hush Hush is about this girl named Nora Gray. And her dad has just died, and her mom is like this antique art dealer, and she is constantly in and out of town. So Nora is left to herself most of the time. And she gets this new biology partner, Patch. Now Patch is this bad boy. It's his first year at the school, and he's a senior, and he's like super flirting with Nora. Like everything he says is a sexual innuendo. But there's something weird and dark about Patch. And as soon as she meets Patch, all of these weird things start happening to her. Like, she's driving her best friend's car home, and she hits this guy that is, like, suddenly ripping off her car door. Which, if anybody knows, you can't, if you're a normal human, you can't rip off a car door. Unless you're, like, one of those macho men. And then, like, there's this other thing where there's this other guy that comes to her school, Elliot, and she finds out he's in a murder case. Like, he's a suspect in this murder case for this girl who supposedly hung herself. And you're like, what? So she's, like, fighting herself the entire time between, I'm not supposed to trust Elliot, but I'm not supposed to trust Patch. And, throughout the story, like, she starts to fall in love with Patch, but she's like, no, I can't fall in love with Patch. He's so bad. But she's like, you're just gonna fall in love with the bad boy. Most people do. But, and then there's, like, this huge thing where she gets, like, trapped in a school, and, like, her house, like, somebody's coming in her house and throwing fireballs, and I'm not gonna give you all the details because it's gonna ruin the book. But, it's one of the most amazing books I've ever read. My top 5, definitely. It's Hush Hush by Becca Fitzpatrick. And she actually has 2 other books in the series out, Crescendo and Silence. And the 4th one, I believe is called Finale, is coming out in October. So excited. But definitely a book you need to read. If you like, I know there's like a bunch of books about Nephilim out right now, and if you know what a Nephilim is, and hopefully this is not going to give away the entire book. A Nephilim is supposedly the offspring of a human and a fallen angel. And so there's like a lot of Nephilim books out right now, like Cassandra Clare's Mortal Instruments and Infernal Devices books. They're Nephilim books. This is another Nephilim book. If that kind of stuff interests you, it's downright amazing. I love this book. My favorite character in this book would be Rickson, who is Patch's best friend, and he's like this Irish guy, and he talks really funny, and it just his character, he's very playful, but he's just really cool. And he in the other books, he comes out a lot more, and he becomes a lot more prominent. But definitely in Hush Hush, Rickson is my favorite character. He's another secondary character. My favorite scene is Nora gets a ride from Patch. Oh no, hopefully. Sorry, my computer just shut off for a second. Nora gets a ride from Patch, and so they go back to her house, and her mom's out of town at this point. And he comes into her house, and they start making tacos, like, cause that's, you know, this creepy guy that you're trying not to fall in love with. He's like coming over to your house, and you make tacos. So they're making tacos, and then like they start almost making out. It's like my favorite scene, and probably is only my favorite scene because it has to deal with tacos, and I really like tacos. Um, Rating for this book, I would give it a 10 out of 10, just because the story is beautifully written. Just period, end of statement, beautifully written. Um, you can get this book at most bookstores. I mean, I know you can get it at Barnes and Noble. You can get it at Books a Million if you have those. Walmart. I know Walmart has it. Um, so yeah, just as a recap, Hush Hush by Becca Fitzpatrick, and The Lockharts by Charlotte Monroe. They're both excellent books, both in my top five. And yeah, that's about it for the book review. If you guys have any book requests that you guys want me to read, just let me know. I will be happy to go get the book. And I guess that is all for now. So, see you next Tuesday. Bye, guys.